Right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praises to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawahshi, bahasham, Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone that rule well, laboring the word and doctrine. Shalom, meaning peace. May that be into the elect of the nation of Israel. The Hebrew Israelites bring us against prophesying the return of Yahawahshi, Hamashiach, the downfall of this wicked man's wicked kingdom. We've got an article touching on prophecy, so we'll start there from thence.
That's right. This is from endtimeheadlines.org, dated February the 18th, 2023, the hopeful year of our prophecies come to pass. So the headline reads, Europe is now considering a digital currency to counter the US and China's tech dominance. And it says the central bank started investigating the feasibility of a digital euro back in October 2021. This fall, the heads of state across the EU will have to decide if the ECB should push ahead with the next steps, which include testing the necessary technical arrangements so Europeans can spend digital euros. The ECB is worried that the Eurozone will end up in a geopolitical and economic sandwich position between the big tech companies of the USA and the payment systems of China without a digital euro. Right now, Europe lacks digital platforms. Zimmerman, senior economist at German bank LBBW, told CNBC Wednesday. ECB President Christine Lagarde acknowledged that point during a speech in November. The entry of big techs into payments could increase the risk of market domination and dependence on foreign payment technologies, with consequences for Europe's strategic autonomy, she said.
All this is going to be is leading to a global system. CBDCs in all countries. Everyone's going to have to bow to what the digital org. That's right, the MOTV, the Charagma Institute Professor. We'll read that scripture shortly.
You know, every nation will have their own version of the central bank digital currency. Okay, but you know, on a global scale, they'll all be interlocked together. Already now, more than 2/3 of European card payment transactions are run by companies with headquarters outside the European Union, she added. MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, Alipay, and UnionPay make up the top global companies for payments. None of them are European. The first three are American and the last two are Chinese.
Right, you see the contention between EU and Babylon the Great, which we see into Revelation 17th chapter towards the end. It tells you about how the 10 horns are going to shoot fire on the horn, which represents the EU nation shooting ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, upon Babylon the Great, the so-called United States of America, by the pattern of this world.
Politicians in Europe do not want consumers on firms in the region to become dependent on US big tech companies for payments, Zimmerman said. He added that European officials are also trying to avoid a situation in which China becomes the sole determinant of payments on the digital Silk Road, a landmark Chinese project to invest in digitalization across the world.
China's one of the nations that think they're going to have the kingdom next, that they're going to have rulership, but they're sadly mistaken.
The goal, I think, it is a fixation for some, of ensuring the sovereignty or power of the EU is the main driver for the digital euro in Brussels and in Frankfurt. Daniel Gross, distinguished fellow at the think tank CEPS, told CNBC via email. European officials have for several years been debating the need to be more autonomous and less reliant on other parts of the world. But talks intensified in the wake of the C-19 scamdemic and then again after Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
What did we say in the car coming up? Never let a good crisis go to waste. Right? So you've got certain different global disasters that they can use to follow their agendas out.
Right. False flags, things like that. The relevance of preserving geopolitical sovereignty has increased in recent ECB speeches and publications for a digital euro. This certainly has to do with the outbreak of the Ukraine war and the increasing global geopolitical tensions, Zimmerman said. That's the end of that article.
This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. The 2 horns represent the 2 political parties that play both sides. Democrats and Republicans, the pagan Roman Empire Empire, because this is nothing but the revival of the pagan Roman Empire. But in the pagan Roman Empire, you have the pagans and patricians. That's right. The spirit is a dragon, and you go into that word dracon, a severe manner of law, and we're about to see this devil's horns. Verse 12, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. Right, going back to that pagan Roman Empire. That's the first beast in the context of the fourth beast of Daniel's prophecy. The first beast completely will be Assyria Babylon. But when it says first beast, you don't get confused. That's just going into the pagan Roman Empire. So it's the fourth beast of Daniel chapter 7 and Daniel chapter 2. So he exercised all the power of the first beast before him and caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So it's causing through these different philosophies that he still pushes out to this day. If you want to be a lawyer, you have to learn Latin. If you want to do anything to do with plants, to do with animals on a high level, you have to learn all these little Latin terms. Right, a horse is an equus, you have to learn these. Now when you go on Wikipedia and you're searching up, right, so let me look at this herb, let me look at that. Alright, the cousin of this is called Alice, Alice, A-L-I-S. That's more time a Latin root. Right, why? Because that's the Latin is the language of the pagan Roman Empire. So that's what they keep pushing out. And through philosophies, like democracy, where did that come from? Right, it's famed throughout all Rome. Demo goes demos, people. Kratos goes into rulership. So he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, across the earth, and which dwell therein to worship the first beast. His deadly wound was healed. He was healed in the Renaissance. At one point, you had Jake creep up in the rulership and turn into the jihad. Just to simplify it, you had Jake creep up in the rulership for a period of around about 1,000 years, which you can read by Revelation 20th chapter. And after that, you had a Renaissance, which Renaissance etymologically means rebirth. So they were aware that they were down in the caves, down up in servitude. Right, you had the serfs or the wild men in the Middle Ages. That was them. And then they crept back up, and that was the deadly wound being healed. Verse 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. And again, that's going into his power, his sword, his weapon, how he can strike. That's the only wisdom. Verse 14, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, there's an image of the beast, which had the rule by the sword and had lived. That image is going into philosophy. It's not an image, literal image you see the whole of it. That's ridiculous. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto them. The beast should cause the stingers would not worship the image of the beast, should be killed. Right, that's what he's going to get down with. Especially disasters, Jacob's trouble. And if you're not down with this system, right, you're going to worship the beast and it's going to take the mark. You're going to get done off, right, you're going to get ostracized from the whole system. Right, so he's not going to take a picture of Caesar Borgia and force it to be like, kiss it. Right, although they do, they do that, and that's part of the image of Caesar Borgia is to small and great, rich and poor, receive a mark, a charagma in their right hand or in their forehead. And no man might buy or sell, save he at the mark or the name of the beast, or the book of his name. And that's ultimately what it's pushing towards. That's why we're constantly on top of all this news with the CBDCs. Right, that's the main one. That's the main one right now. We're aware of the third war. Yeah, look at the contentions. You can see how even in the contentions and in the race to get CBDCs and all these different natural disasters, so-called miracles from the Lord. So plagues, pestilences coming down from the Lord, the C-19, this war, that war. They're going to use that to further their agenda in the earth.
Here's another article from End-Time Headlines. Scientists now say that the terms male and female should be replaced with sperm producing and egg producing to be inclusive. And it says researchers from the United States and Canada suggested that scientists should stop using harmful terminology and instead adopt more inclusive and precise language, including replacing terms such as male and female with sperm producing and egg producing, the New York Post reported. A group of scientists with the Ecology and Evolutionary Biology Language Project recently published a paper in the Trends in Ecology and Evolution journal recommending more inclusive terminology in ecology and evolution to combat ongoing marginalization of many groups. The group's website lists 24 so-called harmful terms that should be banned in the scientific community. Right? These include man, woman, mother, father, primitive, and invasive. According to the scientists, primitive and invasive are used derogatorily towards humans or human practices, and also scientifically inaccurate, as implies an evolutionary hierarchy.
Primitive means prime, right? Prime means the first one.
The researchers claimed that the phrase survival of the fittest is also harmful because it is linked to eugenics, ableism, and social Darwinism.
Well, E is the fittest to thrive in his kingdom. You know, so is he the fittest? Maybe he's not the fittest, but he's the fittest for his environment.
The term citizen science, which the researchers argued is harmful to non-citizens, should be replaced with participant science or community science.
But these are people that don't have enough real problems, so they want to tell you how to speak. That's ridiculous, right? You can do your devilry, you can conquer the earth, you can do this, you can do that, and reap the benefits to this day. But you can't say this. It hurts my feelings. Guess what? You hurt the Lord's feelings when He took His people, right? Just because you're not in that generation, try to sanitize your whole history, make out like this is really doing something for the earth. Now, this is not doing anything, especially you going against creation. Like saying a sperm producer, an egg producer. But hold on, when you say, well, what's the definition of a woman? When you see all that shit, they'll say someone that could give birth. They say, well, what about women that can't give birth? You're reducing me to my biology. You're reducing me to my genitals. So now you come out and say sperm producer. And what if a man can't produce sperm? What if he has some medical condition? Are you now a misandrous? Should you now be cancelled too? Now, this is ridiculous, man. It shows we're in a godless society. That's really what it shows. Saying a man isn't a man, a woman isn't a woman. We're all just sort of floating cells in a chaotic universe with no dominion, how you said, dominionic figure, no one in rulership. It's all chaos. Right, but the Lord is not an author of confusion.
The word discover and discovery should be replaced with identified and described, because the former erases the long-standing, detailed ecological knowledge of indigenous communities that have been involved with local environments and ecosystems before colonialism and Western science.
So now we can't use the word discovered because you wrongfully applied the word discovered. So the word itself has to be gone. We have to do away with the word because you claimed you discovered some people that were already existing prior to your... No, you're still doing the same shit. Now you're doing, how you say, lexical colonialism. Now you're telling other nations what they can and can't say.
Much of Western science is rooted in colonialism, white supremacy, and patriarchy. And these power structures continue to permeate our scientific culture, the scientists argued. Here, we discuss one crucial way to address this history and make EEB more inclusive for marginalized communities. Our choice of scientific terminology. Researchers involved in the project include academics from Harvard, Princeton, and the University of California. Our team of authors includes graduate students, staff, postdoctoral scholars, and assistant professors.
A bunch of young liberal people. That's what I mean.
Employed across historically white and minority-serving institutions in the USA and Canada. And several authors have personal ties to other countries. the group's journal stated. The project's authors hold a shared interest in calling attention to the power of language and the ways it can cause harm. According to University of British Columbia Assistant Professor Dr. Caitlin Gaynor, the project started as a Twitter.
You can't say Gaynor.
Oh shit, yeah.
It's got that word in it. That's offensive.
The project started as a Twitter conversation.
I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah, that seems very right.
Yeah.
Among a few researchers discussing potentially harmful terminology. The article's ended right there.
Good. I'll read it. This is Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 22. How long will thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord Yahawah hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. You know, and that's really an extension of it, that whole, soy boy politics, man. You don't call me a man, call me a sperm producer. It means the same shit. It means what? You're a man, you're a male. What's the difference? There was one, I remember I did English language, and there was one guy, one theorist, Stephen Pink, who talked about a linguistic treadmill, something to that effect. That, alright, first we're called niggers, then we're called Negroes, then we're called African American, then we're called coloured, or whatever order, coloured, then African American, then black, then pigmentally furbished. Also, they keep coming up with new clever ways, new terms. It means the same shit. If you don't like someone and you have an absolute hatred and contempt and you call them nigger, okay, cool. But if you say with that same that same hatred, you used to call them black, you say it with the same intonation and the same disgust, it means the same shit. You go back to Latin, it's in the scriptures, right? Simon, it said, who was called Niger, Niger. You go into the Strong's G, that guy's going to get cancelled if you play that. Because he says, what? Niger. Right, what does that mean? It means black in Latin. Right, that's the way it came from. That's what it means. In Spanish, you spell out Negro, right, negro. But you just say it a little bit different in English. So again, all that shit, it's just Malcolm X. Not that we're into Islam, not that we're necessarily into him, but he warned you about the white liberal, or the E-liberal, right? He'll come and he said, I'd rather, something to the effect of, I'd rather have a fox that I knew was trying to eat me than a fucking, I can't remember what he said, but he said some shit. I'd rather know who my enemy is and he tells me and he admits it than he tries to slither around, and comes creeping, like it talks about in Sarah, the 12th chapter. Never trust thine enemy, for like his iron knows so is his wickedness. You try to wipe it away, but it's coming back. So he calls you one thing today, one thing tomorrow, but he still hates you tomorrow.
Lamentations chapter 4 verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. You are being exposed. Alright? And really, if you want to put all these unrighteous decrees out and come up with all sorts of, ridiculous, rhetoric and things like that, then I'm also happy to do it because, you should be rejoicing in your final.
Live it up.
Yeah, live it up.
So 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3 said, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come. And that's talking about the day of Hamashiach, the day of the anointed. That day shall not come except there come a falling away first. You go into the Greek word, it's the word apostasy, and that represents us falling away from our land. And we fell away from our land, we fell away from our heritage. Right, our heritage or inheritance was partly the land. It also talks about Sirach 17 and 11. He gave them also the law of life. That's happened, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, and he's being exposed, like the brother said. Right? He's absolutely exposed even by his own people. Right? This psalm that talks about how the Lord will make the tongue of the wicked to fall upon themselves. Right? I think Psalm 9 as well says, let the heathen be fallen in their own net, and be taken by their own snare. So these nations are self-trapped, especially Eve, and they're going to fall into it, man. That's the will of the Lord. Again, the Lord hasn't forgot that you took the apple of his eye, enslaved us, raped the men, raped the woman. As I say, tares among the wheat. You know, all this, and that's just a few things. Imagine how much devilry he did and how much wickedness he did that he covered up. Right, but this is only what he admits. Right, you think the Lord's forgot about that because you're going to change a couple of words. Oh, don't call them nicknods anymore. Call them beautiful, melanated people. Right, you think the Lord's forgot about that. You know, and he has a guilt complex as well. Right, especially the liberal E's. They know there's something coming, they're trying to soften the blow where you can't. Right, that being said, there's Vocab. He recently came out and was on about how, oh, you're not going by the scriptures, you just want to create a narrative that, you know, they will rule over their oppressors. Well, what does it say in the scriptures? They will rule over their oppressors.
Jeremiah 17:4, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. You have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever, in a long time. You know, like, God certainly did discontinue from my heritage, right? You know, Yahawahshi put spirit upon, you know, it's hopefully let men to return back to who they are in the latter times, right, according to Bible prophecy, right, to preach repentance for the nation of Israel, but knowing that only the elect will, you know, take you to that other side, right? Because the majority of our people are still, you know, caught up in the ways of this world and other vain philosophies and ideologies, okay? And now they don't want to seek their true power, right? They're really content with, you know, the effect of this world, you know, this so-called life has to offer.
Scrolling TikTok all day. Okay. Oh, he's got his 40 ounce. Jake's happy. He goes to the club, he's happy. It says Deuteronomy 28 and verse 45. Said, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, which our people are absolutely fucking destroyed. Till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahawah thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Forever doesn't mean, you know, forever, even forever and ever, but it means a very long time. It feels like forever. You know, to the Lord it's a different thing, but unto us, you know, when was the last time we were up? When was the last time we were in a position of authority, or even a position of autonomy? Or a position of being able to have self-governance, being ruled over for the longest time. Yeah, we crept up there in Rome, but guess what? We're still going off the pagan idolatry. You know how it talks about the E who was bound up, the serpent, who was bound up for a period of 1,000 years and he couldn't deceive the nations. Well, the nations were still being deceived, you know, because Jake was still deceived. We weren't really up, yeah, okay, alright, maybe we had it a bit better in some aspects, but we're still idolatrous, you know, so we're still losers. We're still losing.
That's right, man, and our people are destroyed, you know, destructured. Okay. They don't have a structure like those other nations do. That's why, you know, they're in a upper position, top position. Okay, they're respected, right? But they are above us, you know, socially, economically, politically, right? They go back to the 8th Psalm.
Yeah, and that's like everyone that shows you that the Lord has enemies. You know, you had the one guy recently say, there's no... He was chatting some shit. He was going into some Islamic doctrine which was actually more true than what he was spewing. You know, they're both false, but there was more truth in them. He was saying effectively, in Islam it says that the Lord doesn't love all disbelievers, he doesn't love all sinners. When in the scriptures, he loves all sinners. Going into this, or they'll say he doesn't like the sin, but he loves the sinner. Well, Psalm 5:5, the Lord hateth all workers of iniquity. What does it say? Sirach 12 and 6. The Most High hateth sinners. It goes on, but you can't get simpler than that. You know, you can't, what do you say? Which is exegete or eisegesis. They try to use them. Eisegesis, exegesis, fancy words. But either way, you can't get that really wrong. The Most High hateth sinners, that's what it says. Unless it said the prefix is, well, I'm about to say something that's not true. Well, it's in the scriptures, the Most High hateth sinners. You know, so you plantation Christians are done. But all you jakes are done. Right, outside of this. You're just following after the devil. Let's see what that's...
Sorry. I was going to say, in order for like sin to, you know, to be manifested, someone has to perform that sin, innit? You know, sin's not just there and then, you know, someone has to, you know, perform that sin.
exist out of thin air. The sin is just sinning by itself over there. Oh, hello sin. And it's like it possesses someone. It's the flesh. Really, it's their flesh possessing them. Going into devilish mode. It has to be. It says very much here as well. Going to the scriptures, but it doesn't say anything about us. Pasty face and white one in scriptures. Now, can our people look like that? Yeah, absolutely. But is that the description, depiction, which we're pushing out the Messiah? This is not true. And they'll say, yeah, but what does it matter about his color? Well, if it's in the scripture, it matters. Understand, truth matters, especially if they try to deceive us with something that is anti-truth, right? Which is deceitful, which is a lie. We ought to come against it all the harder. And truly, that's leprosy. You know how they depict the Messiah, that's leprosy. So you're saying that the Messiah is a leper. Which he talks how he had no spot, no blemish. I mean, a leper, that's a blemish. That's a big spot. Verse 47 of Deuteronomy 28. Because thou servest not Yahawah thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies which Yahawah shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want and in the lack of all things. And they shall be yoke bind upon thy neck until they destroy. And our people are destroyed. And even when they come to this truth, there's certain things that we don't want to accept about this truth. The seas doctrine, right? Deuteronomy 22, 28 and 29, right? That's something a lot of these camps like to, these camps, it's not like a solo, one-man army Israelite. A lot of these other groups will say, oh, that's wrong, that's wicked. But when you go into, how else can you break it down? Right? Tapash, what does that mean? You're not serving the law. I'm not saying you have to do that, but you have to accept it's in the law. And you have to accept that the law is righteous. Otherwise, what do you say we serve an unrighteous God? What did Apostle Paul say? Is there unrighteousness with the Messiah? The Messiah forbid. And now people talk about hating heat. And then you've got, and it was a J, it's a plantation, Christian. Come out and say, well, the Lord loves all people. So the Lord loves murderers, the Lord loves thieves, the Lord loves this, the Lord loves that. Now if you start listing it, then we'll see what his answer is. But he said verbatim, he hates Edom. Right, not just the man, but Edom. People against whom the Lord has indignation forever. And that one is forever, forever, even forever. Yes. Indignation is righteous anger. So there's nothing wrong with it. Even for man. Jesus said, be angry and sin not. There's a balance to it because we have to rejoice that we've got this truth. But if you're content with being in this man's society, you need to check it. I'm not content like, oh, let me build up, let me do this, let me try and escape the matrix and some take shit. But you understand, well, what is the way out? What's the way out of this man's system? Where his food is truth. Right, he that abideth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. But what's that? What's the hiding place? This truth. That's how you escape the temptations of this world.
Exactly. There's no other way out, man. That scripture about anyone trying to live in the dark.
Then it goes back to the point where does the Lord love a thief and a robber? Is that pleasing unto the Lord? Of course not.
John chapter 10 verse 1. Truly, truly I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. Right? Seeking Yahawahshi is the only way to escape judgment. Right?
And even in that being of the elect, there's going to be many of us that are still searching, seeking, and we're not able to get it. Lord willing, we're able to make it, but we have to accept that reality. It's about the elect. Whether that be us or not, we understand that's the will of the Lord. We have to take on, like Yahawah said, not my will, but thy will. The Lord's decreed it from the beginning of the earth as well. We're going to change it. We're just about how we have the original choice. We're just playing out our will. It's a direct choice. It's a script. It's a negotiation. The Lord's literally control. The Lord has programmed us to play out our part. Every utterance, every breath, every blinking, every shuffling of the feet, all these things. spirit. And when you feel weak on other days, this is all we tell you before we begin. So what can we do? We just have to play our part as a vessel.
Right. Most High controls both sides as well, you know.
So Isaiah 45:7 to peace and as I said. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of Most High, for they are foolishness unto him. Know them because they're spiritually discerned. So you've got some, oh no, it's the devil that comes in and makes evil. Well, who made the devil? The war in heaven doctrine, you know, which that's dealing with these end times. The devil and his angels is dealing with Eve.
That's right, and there's order in the heavens because, you know, Shaitan takes, you know, his orders from Yahawah.
You can read the first chapter of Jeremiah teaching.
Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7. I form the light, create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahawah, do all these things.
And so it's the Heavenly Father, Yahawah, that does that. No, there's no other entity that's forcing his hand this way or that, or equally as powerful as when they depict, you know, the old cracker man with a beard, you know, going to war against this red man. But they're both a red man. You know, but they're not equally as powerful. You got. There's nowhere in the scriptures they talk about, and then this happened, and this person got kicked out. You know, they'll go on to, all right, so where's this in the scripture? Well, it's not in the scripture, but if we, you know, think about it logically, the logically means what? Logos, the word. So you go back to the word, it doesn't say that in the word. You know, these Christians don't study. Pastor says, oh, yeah, okay, wow, yeah.
Roman Catholic Church dogma is saying it was once good being kicked out of heaven because of the war in heaven.
There's nowhere in the scriptures like that. Nowhere in the scriptures. That sounds like some Christian Talmud shit. If the Christians had a Talmud, it'd be in there. But there's a lot of things that could be a topic.
So another article from endtimeheadlines.org, dated February the 19th, 2023, and the headline reads, Brain implant startup backed by Bezos and Gates is testing mind control on humans. So it says, in a Brooklyn lab stuffed with 3D printers and a makeshift pickleball court, employees at a brain interface startup called Synchron are working on technology designed to transform, like to change form, daily life for people with paralysis.
So again, whenever that's mentioned, I always say this is how they're going to try and get us. This is how they're going to try and depict us as the devil, as a demon. So you're telling me your grandma that can't walk, you love her to be in a wheelchair, you hate her so much, you don't want her life to get better. As you mentioned it the other week, you're witchcraft of words, man. It's fucking slippery. That's why it's called the serpent. Right, more subtle than any beast of the field. He knows how to seduce, how to manipulate.
Exactly. Right.
This is the MOTB. You know, just because it's not in your hand, this is the one that's in your forehead. This is the one that probably pushed for medical. You know, the way I can see it.
That seems very likely and plausible, to be fair. The Synchron switch is implanted through the blood vessels to allow people with no or very limited physical mobility to operate technology such as cursors and smart home devices using their mind.
So you think it's good that people have no mobility?
So far, the nascent technology has been used on 3 patients in the US and 4 in Australia.
Right, which that is not a large number, you know, but it's such a breakthrough and it's prophetic. Why would they tell you that? You know, why would they tell you, well, only 4 people have had this? You know, clearly it's something that they're trying to push and they're trying to increase the numbers there. You know, yeah, it's a crazy breakthrough, but why if it's such a insignificant, you know, like, this is a question to the groups, if it's such an insignificant technology, why is there such a push for it in the news? You know, I remember a time when there was, you know, once every 2 months, once every 3 months, there'd be an odd article, you know, it might go 4 months, 5 months maybe. And now, every week, without fail, there's at least one, or there's at least a review of one, you know, or a response to one. They might have very similar content, but they keep pushing it. And that's something to keep it in your conscience, to get you more comfortable with it. You know, gradualism.
That's right? Like the brother said, it's more common now. Before it was trying to keep up with us, but now we're trying to keep up with it.
Right.
This person said, I've seen moments between patient and partner, or patient and spouse, where it's incredibly joyful and empowering to have regained an ability to be a little bit more independent than before.
So you don't like people having these independent?
Synchron CEO Tom Oxley told CNBC in an interview it helps them engage in ways that we take for granted.
So you hate the fact that they can engage in ways that we take for granted. This will be the narrative now. Those hateful Hebrew Israelites, they hate for people to be happy. They hate for you to go to the club. They hate for you to get a crispy lineup and look attractive. They just hate everything. We know the truth. That says the elect should not be deceived. So Lord willing, we'll be of that number. Because there's going to be a lot of deception, a lot of trickery, and this guy has this guy E has a great media budget to push out all this propaganda. You saw what happened. These guys that were staunch lippers, I'm not taking that shit. I'll never take that shit, nigga. Not me, bro. Not me. Next thing, oh yeah, I took it. It's mine. I don't. It's all right, man. I talked to these people and they told me, you were going hard, man. Last week, you were going hard about these devils, man. They can't cheat, man. Yeah. So that's the propaganda. If you can turn someone, and that's what we say about these other people in these different religions and this different, even in Christianity. A lot of these people, they don't really believe it, so they're not going to have a reason to reject it. And these people that have faith in the scriptures, so when it comes to the fact, oh yeah, I don't really want it. All right, you can't eat unless you get it. All right, bro, I'll get it. That's what it's going to be. Now, if you have something that's strong, like it says, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times. Lord willing, we're able to endure this through the faith in Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawahshi. Right, because that's the ultimate test. Right, that's the final. That's the exam we've all been preparing for. Now, this is why we've been studying. This is why we've been getting into the scriptures. This is why we've been doing the lessons. This is why we've been coming out to the highways. This is why we've been doing daily videos, weekly videos, pushing it out, being consistent. Keeping Sabbaths, doing this. Why do we do it? We can't fuck up at the end. So this is why we did it.
Exactly. It's one chap. You only have one go around for this. Okay.
Either endures to the end, essentially. So.
Exactly. We got these scriptures saying we're saved already. You asked them what from?
The one thing we could say, all right, we're saved from is the pollutions of this world. As long as we remain in this truth. But even then, until the end, you don't know that you're saved. Right? We're just saved from this bullshit because we're aware of it right now. But just to say that we keep that until the end. Lord willing, that's what we say. Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawahshi, ratazah.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 13. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, exactly, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart, meaning their mind, far from me.
I love God, me. Yeah, I grew up in the church. No, my grandma told me the scripture. She could dust you, Lord. Back when we used to go to Jake Town. Them Jakes are bugged out, man. That's one more time you don't see anyone approach us here. He's happy. He's doing his thing. Jake is bugged out. Jake is completely through. I'm like, yeah, keep doing it. Good work. And then they'll listen for 2 minutes. No, I don't agree with that. So what are you on about good work? No, he answered the matter before he heareth it, was he? He said, yeah, fool. But that's the internet's doing the main heavy lifting. So understand, as long as you're going out, it is what it is. A lot of people like the flashy, getting into arguments, cussing out Eve, fist bumping Jake, feeling like they've done something.
But I've removed their mind far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men.
Right, so because this man's going to get on you if you don't keep the Sabbath, that's why you keep it. Because this man gets on you because you don't do videos, that's why you're doing videos. You see that. And once you stop getting on guys, alright, well, I've told you this many times, I told you that, well, what the fuck? He's stopped, stagnant. That's someone that's been taught by the precept of men. Because you're getting cussed the fuck out when you see my man, alright, that's why you made a video. Because was this talk about? Such a man only fear the eyes of men. You know, it doesn't know that the Lord Yahawah Shai's eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, or brighter than the firmament. I can't remember how it phrased exactly. And I say, alright, it might look cool, you might feel like you're a part of something, but you're empty. You know, when it comes to that day, what is it? That's how you get true. What does confidence mean? With faith, con mis amigos, in French, with Spanish even, with my friends. You know, con and fidels, you know, that is French. Fidelity, faith, with faith. So how do you have true confidence, true faith, unshakable faith? You have to believe in the Lord. Right, and that's the first step. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 14. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity. Behold, is it not Yahawah of hosts, that the people shall labour in the very fire, the people shall weary themselves for vanity. For the earth shall be filled with knowledge. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahawah, as the waters cover the sea. So we're going into a time, past Jacob's trouble, past the third woe, in the kingdom, the whole earth's going to know of this truth. You know, as common knowledge as democracy is, as common knowledge as voting, as common knowledge as your football, all this mainstream, folly and vanity that people are obsessed with. Well, everyone's going to know about this truth. Right now, it's an underground thing. We're out here, but it's a covert thing. Not everyone knows it. We'll say it like Yahawahshi. We've taught openly among the world, but not everyone accepts it, and not everyone really takes it seriously. But in the kingdom, there's what does it say? Woe to you that are laugh now, for you shall weep and mourn. Woe to you that are full, for you shall hunger. So we're trying to labor now, face the shame now, face ostracization. Being separated, men separating themselves from your company now, and we'll be able to gain in the kingdom. Present your body as a living sacrifice. Who's going to praise the Lord in the grave? Verse 15, Habakkuk 2. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbour drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, and thou mayest look on their nakedness. And that's what he has done to all these nations. And that's especially what he's doing with the MOTB. The CBDC system in being biologically connected to you, to making you naked, to making you spiritually naked. You can't repent from it. Any Israelite takes that, you can't repent from it. There's an article that came out saying any haragnas you take may have significant effects on your body, irreversible changes. No shit. So you stick that shit in your hand and your brain. No shit, of course. So it is.
The scripture, he said that to us,
right?
Like with your souls,
right?
Okay.
So now they're catching up. Now they're catching up with us. With the scriptures, with the law. But they'll never get it. Even concerning that, the UFOs, so-called, right, the chariots of Israel, what do they say they're about 100 years advanced, or was it 1,000? I can't remember what you said. But even in 100 years, when you see how the perpetuity of increase of technological advancements, meaning alright, 1 year's advancements now was like 10 years advancements, 50 years back or something. So you add that all up, 100 years from now, seeing how rapidly they're increasing and how it's getting perpetually increasingly better. You got to think 100 years is a crazy amount of time for them to say that. And guess what? The chariots are just playing with these devils. They're just keeping it. If they really wanted to, you wouldn't even see them. So they're just keeping it there. They're just taunting you and teasing you. Right? That's a proverb and reproach unto you.
How can you shoot down a spiritual entity with carnal weapons as well?
That's the devil for you. He knows the shit, but he still can't grasp it. The natural man receiveth not the things of the spirit.
And back to that article. Founded in 2012, Synchron is part of the burgeoning brain-computer interface, or BCI, industry. A BCI is a system that deciphers brain signals and translates them into commands for external technologies. Perhaps the best-known name in this space, Neuralink, thanks
to the ops of Synchron.
Yeah. thanks to the high profile of founder Elon Musk, who is also the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and Twitter. But Musk isn't the only tech billionaire wagering on the eventual transition of BCI from radical science experiment to flourishing medical business.
Which I like to make the point of, why would 2 billionaires get involved in if it's not got a... And trust me, if they said, all right, they've done 3 people in this place, 4 people in that, that's only seven people, a complete number. But that's only 7 people. So why are these billionaires putting so much into it if they can't see a future? So there's clearly some inside information going on, and guess what? It's inside the scripture.
Right. Reads, in December, Synchron announced a $75 million financing round that included funding from the investment firms of Microsoft co-founder Gates of Hell and Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. In August 2020.
Oh yeah, no, excuse me, that's 3 billionaires then, isn't it? If they're all billionaires. Mr. Musk, yeah. Gates of Hell, and Mr. Amazon. That's 3 of them?
Oh yeah.
So that's even more? If you didn't know that, 3 is more than 2.
August 2020, the Food and Drug Administration granted Synchron the Breakthrough Device designation, which is for medical devices that have the potential to provide improved treatment for debilitating or life-threatening conditions.
You guys, you love debilitating and high life-threatening conditions.
The following year, Synchron became the first company to receive an investigational device exemption from the FDA to conduct trials of a permanently implantable BCI in human patients. Synchron is enrolling patients in an early feasibility trial, which aims to show that this technology is safe to put in humans. 6 patients will be implanted with Synchron's BCI during the study. The Chief Commercial Officer Kurt Hagstrom said the company is currently about halfway through. The company has no revenue yet, and the spokesperson says Synchron isn't commenting on how much the procedure will eventually cost. While many competitors have to implant their BCIs through open brain surgery, Synchron relies on a less invasive approach that builds on decades of existing endovascular techniques, the company said.
See, so this as well, although it's not, it's sort of an advert, because they're pitting themselves against competitors and explaining how much better they are. And so even that's their selling point, so that it has to be highlighted. And that's probably, they may be more successful in that, because it seems less invasive. If you have to cut open your head, cut open your brain up, and get it zipped up and everything like that, that's a lot more, as you said, invasive than their method. But we'll see. I imagine rapid increases in technological advancements in this field as well, knowing that they have one short time, especially to Revelation 12 and 12.
Leviticus 19 and 28, you shall not make any cuttings in your flesh or the dead.
Which it says in the Proverbs, it's like 21. That's why he that wandereth out the way of understanding, they remain in the congregation of the dead. So if they're not coming out the scriptures with this true understanding, they are the dead. So if you're getting a cutting in your flesh, that's for the dead.
Right? Nor print any tattoos or marks upon you.
Jake's like into that. You need to see Jake's come back into this church, and sleeveless tops to show them off. It's like he's still into that worldly fashion, man.
To try and cover up as much.
You're allowed to wear, worldly fashion in your day-to-day life, not tattoos, of course. Just to make that point clear. Like we say, you can wear a hat technically, but should you be wearing it when you're doing the ministry, when you're pushing out that image? Absolutely not. First off, it's in the scriptures. You're not allowed to cover your head, cover your head with a hat, or with anything for that matter when you're praying or prophesying. All into that. Like the apostles say, all right, technically you can have a gun in certain states in America. Should you carry that out at camp? Absolutely not. Messiah made that clear. Those times, yeah, okay, they had swords. When they were doing the ministry, did they have swords? Absolutely not. Yeah, so we should pattern our walk after Hamashiach. There is, even no offense. There's many things that, alright, it's technically not a sin, it's technically not going off, but it's not a good look at the same time. The scriptures talk about abstaining from any appearance of evils. Yeah, that was a Greco fashion. Forced him to wear a hat. But if a brother in his day-to-day life wants to wear a hat, you're not going off. And if you're taking videos, this is me. It's like prophet. This is my hat. Buy my hat. See, that shows you. I like it. The Apostle I said about Bishop Nate, he said he's not a prophet, he's a propheteer. Now, a lot of you Jakes are not prophets, you're propheteers. Alright, maybe you're prophesying, but you're also in it for the money as well. Which when you have money linked, which you should pay tithes, when you have money linked to the, if you have merchandise, it's like, come on man, what's going on here? What's the true intention of that? Get yourself a t-shirt and fringes.
That was on the high as well. That's how they mention miracles, like paralysis, with your mind,
And that's what it is. That's what it is. It talks about it, I think I read it, deceiveth them with the miracles. Well, this is going to be, a lot of people will be deceived and they will look like unto a miracle. If you can't walk, this cracker sticks some shit up in your head, now you can walk. Tell me that's not a miracle. Right? He did it on the left hand, he did it through the power of his. But it's still a miracle, it's still miraculous. Because that's what the apostles, the disciples were doing. Healing the sick, raising the dead, cleansing the leper, giving sight to the blind. But this devil was to do that all for himself.
Right. Revelation chapter 19, verse 20. And the beast, later in the year, was taken, and with him the false prophet, like the Roman Catholic Church.
All the sister churches, if you're Mormon, if you're Seventh-day Adventist, if you're this, if you're that, if you're this, if you're that, if you're that, if you're this, all of them came out as a spin-off, man. All it is a little remix.
Exactly. That wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the character of the beast, and them that worship his image by the world order.
Not a fucking image of Caesar worship.
These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone.
What's that? Babylon. After this burn nukes, after this burn laser beams from the chariots, after this burn contention, uproars of the people, civil war.
That's why we have a constant warning of people not to take this.
If you take it, it's on you. But you've been warned. As it talks about in Ezekiel. If you say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die. Now warn him not of his wickedness, and the blood's on you. If you warn him, cool. Yeah, that's up to you. Ideally, we wouldn't want any Jake to take it. But we're aware of the scriptures. Like Apostle Paul said, brethren, my heart's desires for Israel is that they may be saved. You don't think Apostle Paul knew there was a lot of judgment, a lot of this. So yeah, for us, yeah, we would like one thing, but if the Lord wants another, let it be His will, not ours.
Exactly. You can have relatives, family members, friends, grew up with that, will end up taking it.
You can't get ensnared into it. But I took it. How are you going to eat? How are you going to eat with you? How are you going to eat this?
Oh, yeah, in the sight you're going to, get destroyed in the sight you have watching outside. Alright? ICBM missile or,
I was going to say, Jake has no problem. He'll break a red light, or he'll do this, do that. And when the judge gives him a sentence, he'll say, thank you, Your Honor. And he'll have no problem when he violates this cracker man's laws. He'll have no problem, getting what he deserves. But when he violates the Lord's law, then it's but that's not fair. But think about this. But this, that. But this, that. This. He has no respect, and that shows you that he is really Jake's God. So it's only right that he takes his oath, which makes him a perpetual bondservant.
Right, Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. These are the words of Yahawah. Think not that I am come to set peace on earth. I came not to set peace, but a sword. Verse 35. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Verse 36. And a man's foes and enemies shall be they of his own household. As Yahawahshi said, that he's come to put you at odds with your family. Okay? And he's coming with sword, which represents destruction.
But at the same time, Yahawahshi said, if any lose, family, wife, this, that, 100-fold will be given in the kingdom. So you have to keep it. But if you really believe in this, what's the problem? What's the problem with losing that shit?
Get that all back.
Right? By the time you lost this guy, you lot are going off. Alright, cool, see in the kingdom, but there's no biggie. If you really if your mind's set in the right place, if that shit doesn't really, get to your cost, in the flesh, you're gonna feel a type of way. But cool, alright. I'll see you later. You can't force it. That's what it is. It's the Lord that's in control at the end of the day. Or whatever. Your woman leaves you, okay, cool. Now what? Keep pushing. Get back to work. That's what it is.
There's a reason why she probably did leave you. Maybe she wasn't meant to be with you.
Right? Or maybe it's a test. Maybe she was stepped out on some adulterous shit. It's a test. It's all a test. And all this there's some truth in the world, in parable or proverb. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Going through that affliction, and that's how you make. How do you make gold? You take gold off. What do? You rub it really gently, and go, come on, gold. I know you. No, you put it in some fucking heat, right? Hot fire, burns out all the impurities, and that's how you get fine gold. Right? Same with silver. But if you leave it, put it in cold water, rub it. You're too delicate with it. What would you get? Reprobate silver. Right? Shall make cold because the Lord Yahawah rejected them. So whatever affliction, whatever you go through, it's meant to strengthen you up. Especially in the times we're going through, we need to have felt some shit. It's going to be unreal. There's nothing going to be able to compare it. But you're going to be in a better headspace if you've been preparing. If you've been going through these prophecies, and if you've been really believing it. You can read this all day, you can pray all day until you're blue in the face, but without faith, what is it? Fruitless, it's vain. You need to really believe in this, and if you don't, go back in the world. You'll have a better time. Because them that came in this, and were fronting, they say faking the funk, you'll get uncovered, you'll get discovered. There's no secret thing that shall not be uncovered, as Yahawahshi said. So we really need to pray for faith. And these times we're going to see some incredible things, some miracles, and you need to believe them, and to make it out alive, or even to make it out. Some of us will perish, some of us will have our heads chopped off for this. Are you ready for that? We can say it, but it's easier said than done.
Well, that reminds me of Trump wanting to bring back
guillotines.
As well. Okay. And there's a close comparison with him and Nero Caesar and how he persecuted the Christians who were Israelites back then.
And he heavily believes in the S-hats. Heavily. The 1948ers. Heavily believes they're the people of the book. And he's into the scriptures to a certain degree. Because that's why he gives so much aid to them.
That proves they're not the people, man. Them getting so much aid. Billions, I don't know how much it is.
Too much.
Yeah.
But that's what it talks about. They're either under the blessings or the curses. If they're under the blessings, how are they getting fucking fucked up by some little Palestinian kid who can dash a rocket your tank? Alright, maybe they're not getting fucked up, but these are the nations that will not be learning war when we're set back in our land. There'll be that initial resistance. After all of them are put down, right? Starting with Yahawahshi, then the elect. Yahawahshi, King David, then the elect underneath. There's no questions. There's no little kid trying to throw shit. A little kid will be on his knees bowing. Oh my gosh, look. And even at the kids, the adults of these other nations will be looking. Oh my gosh, look, that's Hassan ben Yamyan's son. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at that, look at this. You know, they will be acknowledged, that's what it says. Their seed will be acknowledged or recognized among the Gentiles, among these other nations. It'll be like celebrities. How these paparazzis go when Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's little daughter goes past. Oh my gosh, look who it is, look who it is. And click, click, click. That'll be the same way. Obviously, they're not going to have cameras, but they'll have that sort of reverence. Because a lot of these people, they worship these celebrities. They have reverence. And it talks about how there'll be reverence from these other nations. They'll accept that. It says that kings will be nursing fathers and queens. What does it say? Nursing mothers. You can't say queens. Queen is a heathen office. And queen etymologically goes back to a prostitute, a whore. You go, queen. You know, you're not wrong. She probably is.
Isaiah 49 verse 23. And kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing.
Oh, yeah. Let's say there's no Israelite woman. No, there's a queen of Israel. No, that's not an office. Well, let's finish it.
Okay. And their queens thy nursing mothers, they shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. If thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahawah, they shall not be ashamed that wait for me.
Some people will read this, hey, kiss my boo, kiss my boo. How do you even know you're of the elect? How do you even know you're going to make it? I'm sure you're still, not in sin. I'm sure you still slip up. We've got to have some humility. You say, yeah, all right, cool, we're over the nations. How do you know that's? I bet you just checked, you looked at them and said, all right, that's a cracker. I bet you didn't even try the spirit. A lot of the time you look at someone and say, hey. So if you see my son with one of these, white women, then you might say, oh, look, it's a E. Even if you see me, you might say, look at you, bang, kiss my boo. Then we start pulling out the genealogical records, and it's curtains. So that's why you can't be carnal with it. But that it also talks in the scripture in Sirach, it says the Lord hate a proud man that is poor. Or we're poor. Because what's true wealth? Even if you're Floyd Money Mayweather, what is true wealth? Animals. And then the animals, you'd have land, right? You'd have gold, you'd have silver, you'd have slaves, you'd have servants, you'd have women, you'd have daughters. They were given for a dowry. They'd help around the house as an asset. You have sons, conquering the earth, doing this shit. Now that's true wealth. And then they'd bring in, more and more. And you start a little empire. Now, Abraham was rich. These jakes are rich. Now fiat currency. We're going back to that. So a poor man that is proud, as you as a poor man, if you've not even made it, you might get dashed out the truth tomorrow. So what's this, pasty-faced guy kissing up your foot for when he could be a Jew?
That's right. These heathens, especially Esau, he's proud. So,
Okay, so that's even more evidence that it could even be a Jew. But just you heard or you saw. Well, he didn't walk with his pants down and sort of walk like this when he walked. So it definitely wasn't Jay. I believe it's Elder Kharatazar. I had a video recently. Like all these nations that grew up, or these jakes that grew up around these other nations, they're naturally going to take on certain characteristics of these other nations. You even notice that on the job, people will interact with people. They'll sort of mirror. It's just natural as a human. You mirror sort of what the other person does. So if you notice you're around some person for long enough, you'll start going. He'll stand like this, and you'll move like that. You go, shit. Why am I doing that? So people they'll take on the customs, especially if they're from a child. They've learned it like that. They might behave differently. So you can never be too carnal. Yahawahshi said, "Judge not by appearance, but judge righteous judgment."
Exactly. Because a lot of them are still in that Gentile state. So, they're going to follow the nation that they live by or live with.
Take after their ways. Even among the tribes, Obviously we live in the UK, but I've heard people say, well, that this Issachar, he grew up around Judah, and he was more Judah than Judah, or vice versa. You know, even though they're all Jake, yeah, but we have different tribal mannerisms. If you take even a Nigerian in England, and he hangs around enough yardies, what's he gonna? He's gonna start talking like them, and gonna look like them. The body language like them, gestures like that's natural. So ultimately, the Lord knows. You can say, I think this guy's an Israelite, but ultimately, the Lord knows. And again, does it matter if we're Israelites? No. It matters if we're the Israel of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawahshi. It matters if we're of the elect. Okay? Probably get it pretty tough. Sin is death. Not to get too into the carnal. You have to do it to some degree. I'm not saying never eat. You might have to eat sometimes. To be minded and be minded the things of this world. So it's a dangerous one, a sticky one.
Another article from endtimeheadlines.org, dated February the 19th, 2023. The headline reads, Kiev security chief vows to expel all Russian troops in Ukraine's soil. Declares tanks will take Moscow. Russia's actually demolishing Ukraine. So this reads, Kiev security chief vowed that Ukraine's tanks will be parked on Moscow's Red Square, and that will be justice. Alexei Danilov, Kiev's national security and defense council Moscow, Vladimir Putin, hit his twin, as he reiterated Ukraine's ambition to expel all Russian troops from its soil. The security boss previously warned that the bloodiest battles are yet to come, and they will happen within the next few months in what will be a defining moment of the war. Danilov told The Sun, our tanks will be on Red Square and that will be justice. They invaded our territory, killed our women, our children, the elderly and civilians. If we don't give them a proper answer, it is only a matter of time before they invade another country. As Moscow gears towards an attack on February the 24th, Ukrainian defenders are preparing to defend against a force that could consist of 400 fighter jets, 300 helicopters, 1,800 new tanks, and 3,950 armoured vehicles. The security boss added that it was not Ukraine that initiated the war, and it was not their country that called upon the Russians. He added that it is only a matter of time until Russia eventually self-destructs, as Putin will, in time, be known as the man who destroyed Russia.
You know, it's funny. What did Joey B say? Are you going to intervene in Russia? No, because that would be World War III. And what did they call it when Russia shoots nukes on Babylon the Great, when Babylon attempts to respond, it's called MAD, mutually assured destruction. So he will indirectly end up destroying Babylon. But he'll be the one that destroys Babylon. He's the leading. I can see it like that. I can't see it taking too long where he's gonna but if he's not the man, he's not the man. But either way, when Russia and US go to it, that's MAD, mutually assured destruction.
And Biden's making Babylon the Great look weak.
Man can't even string a sentence together.
So, it could be impeached, to be lawfully taken out of office. That's what it is.
That would be an interesting turn of events.
Exactly.
With Mr. Trump gets back in, Mr. Guillotine starts pushing out all the characters, or whether it be Kamala, or the end of Harris. Exactly. Really, calls up the Republican, the so-called far right. He really has that charisma and that status about him. Most of them, I think, fuck America. They're not really for it. They're about their own family, and that's it. Because at one time, Babylon to them was a safe haven. It was all this, and it had somewhat their values. Now it's gone. It's gone to the point a man. They're as pissed off as us about the man and woman shit. But they don't have the true understanding because they don't have the true understanding of the scriptures. To supplement that there's a kingdom beyond this. America doesn't last forever. It's not going to be heaven. It's not going to be some face-to-face angel lepers coming down and giving everyone candy canes.
That's right. So going back to that article, it says, as Putin would in time be known as the man who destroyed Russia, describing the unstoppable process as inevitable, as a quote-unquote volcano erupted. End quote. He believes within the next 12 months, Russia will become increasingly fragmented, and at this point, there is no fixing the damage. Ukrainian chief of intelligence dubbed Putin as Hitler's twin, adding that he would too face an end in a bunker like the Nazi head. It comes as a US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Sunday that China was considering providing weapons to Russia in its war against Ukraine, warning Beijing that any supplies would cause a serious problem. The concern that we have now is based on information we have. They're considering providing lethal support. Blinken told CBS's Face the Nation. Asked what lethal support would entail, he said everything from ammunition to the weapons themselves. Blinken made similar comments in a series of interviews with American television from Germany, where on Saturday he attended the Munich Security Conference and met with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi. He told Wang then that if China provides material support to Russia or assistance with systemic sanctions evasion, there will be consequences, the State Department official said.
Because the thing is, if Jake's on the street and he hands a gun to his co-defendant, what they're going to call that? They're going to call it joint enterprise, and they're going to call him an accessory to that murder. So in war, if you're supplying weapons to another country's enemy, they best look at you like the enemy if they're not stupid. This guy, he never had a gun in his life. This guy gives him an AR-15 and he does this wickedness. Oh, what's that? It's the guy who gave him the gun. He's at fault as well, no? Again, that's why Joey B, as much as he can, speak a paragraph to himself. He said, well, that would be crazy. That would be World War III. That's what he said verbatim. That would be World War III. Guess what? We're in it. It would just solidify getting to the climax sooner rather than later.
So it says, taken together, the US comments appear to be among the clearest warning yet that China might be poised to go beyond rhetorical, political, or diplomatic support for Russia and be ready to help arm it in its nearly year-old fight against Ukraine.
Probably get a few scriptures. So best believe in them times. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, and it says, verse 9, Luke 21 and 9, when you shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. So there's still more to come. Although it seems, man, this is insane, this is unprecedented. You've got guys up in age saying, man, I've never seen stuff like this in my life. And I've heard that from multiple sources, of people in this country, in that country. I've never seen some shit like this on a global level, even on a country level. In Babylon, in the UK. It's unprecedented. Even though that, there's still more to come. So stay tuned, get your popcorn ready.
That's right. This is Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish, and he that keepeth the law, happy is he. That's right. And when you go into the in the Hebrew, it's Kazawan. It goes into vision in ecstatic state, vision in the night, a vision oracle prophecy. Vision is a title of book or prophecy. Right? But this is a faith booster to show that, close to this man's kingdom collapsing. This, it's been about a year now it started. Since, it's not letting up at all.
So we gotta get more severe things. All you can. No one, there's nothing you're gonna do with Vladimir. Yeah, you know what, guys? Allow it. Forget it. I was wrong. I shouldn't have invaded them. I'm so sorry. Here's all the reparations. You can't see that shit. No way. So it's only gonna ramp up from here. So stay prayed up. Stay fasting. Keep the faith, because that's what it's about.
That's why we have more sure word of prophecy.
There it is.
Right.
And the last thing we're gonna touch.
Yeah, that's it.
So with that, we pray it's been edifying. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone that rule well, laboring the word and doctrine. Now a thank ka halal yumla Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawahshi, bahasham, Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.